Shalom, 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 brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel. It's an honor, it's a privilege to come before you as always. I'm your brother Ananias.
Brother Benaiah.
Brother Ezekiel. And Brother
A.O.I, the awakening of Israel. And like we said before, it's an honor to come before you on this Sabbath day. Happy Sabbath to you all. But to give you another edifying lesson, that's the message. That's the purpose. That's the reason why we do these calls. And before we get started, we got to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, Yahweh being the Heavenly Father, and Yahweh Shai being His Son. And through His strength, guidance, and sacrifice and example, we are here today to be able to wake up our brothers and sisters and to continue to edify us so we can continue to endure, for the elect's sake, for the kingdom, to be part of the hopeful elect. And as you just seen in the video, you know, this class or this topic is going to be dealing with the 4th of July, Juneteenth, and Father's Day. But the title of today's class is called "We Weren't Free in 1775 or 1865." So stop with the celebrations. That's right, Israel. Stop with the celebrations. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Stop with the celebrating. You know, let's go to Proverbs 27:5, because our people don't realize what's really going on. Now, most of us, you know, see it as this weekend as a 3-day weekend. You know, they give us Father's Day, they give us Juneteenth, you know, and then another week or two we're gonna have so-called July 4th. It's supposed to be America's freedom. But all those things are things that are set up to deceive us as a nation of people. We think that everything is all peaches and cream right now. We think everything is good. But on the contrary, it's not there. Let's go to Proverbs 27:5. Proverbs 27:5, please.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 27 and verse 5. And it says, my apologies. I'm getting right here.
Somebody give me Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 3.
Here. Proverbs chapter 27, verse 5. And it says, open rebuke is better than secret love.
Read it one more time.
Open rebuke is better than secret love.
Open rebuke, open correction is better than secret love. Why I bring this out? Because we got to give Israel, the nation of Israel, a sharp rebuke when it comes to these holidays, you know, because we think as a people that everything is all good, you know, but it's not all good, you know. For example, 4th of July, most of us know that is not a holiday geared toward the nation of Israel. Why? Because when America received their independence, when they were fighting against the British for their independence, they weren't fighting for us. They were fighting for their own liberty. You know, we were still slaves, you know. So it's no reason today why we, as a nation of people, are celebrating and popping fireworks and firing up the grill on the 4th, going to the club, getting drunk, going to these stores, buying all these outfits to run around acting a fool. Open rebuke. We love our people, so we got to give you this message. You got to stop and come out. You got to repent and come back to the Lord, basically. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 3.
Ezekiel chapter 2 and verse 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel to
who?
Rebel the children of Israel.
So
to a rebellious nation.
To the children of Israel, not to everybody. This Bible is written to the Israelites. It ain't written to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that pick it up and read it. It's only written to one nation of people. Read it again, start from the top.
And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even until this very day.
So the Lord sent us to the children of Israel. We are the prophets coming back on the earth in the last days, coming back to speak truth, to give our people the word of God. To a rebellious nation, though. If anybody knows anything about the Israelites, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, we are hard-headed as hell. Can't nobody tell us nothing. We prideful, but lowly at the same time. What I mean by that, we got a high mindset or pride about ourselves, but we on the bottom of society and don't even know why and don't even consider why. It said a rebellious nation that have rebelled against me. It ain't the other nations, it's us that's rebelling because he chose us as a nation. We are his children. We are the sons of God, and we have consistently broken the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. So we have rebelled because the commandments were given to us. We said, and their fathers have transgressed against me even unto this very day. Even unto this very day, we still rebelling. We still don't want to hear the law. We still don't want correction. Can't nobody tell us nothing. But we always want something. We always got our hand out. Can't nobody tell us nothing, though. Jump down to verse 7.
Verse 7. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious.
Somebody give me Job chapter 8, verse 8. So the Lord said, and when we go to these people, speak my words, not our words, but the Lord's word. The words of the Most High God, Yahweh. Speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, but they are most rebellious. So we don't care how our brothers and sisters feel about it. We got to give you this truth. So we can't leave no stone unturned. You know, you can't use that as an excuse as we never heard this before. Nobody ever told me this. Whether you hearing it now, whether you turn it off, whether you log off, whether you get mad on the highways and byways, it don't matter. And quite frankly, we don't give a damn how you feel about it. We're going to give you this truth one way or another. Now, once you hear it, that's up to you what you do with it. But our job as prophets, son of men coming back on the earth is to come back to our brothers and sisters because we love you, love our brothers and sisters, but we got to give you the word of the Most High. And if you're in this truth, you need to be seeking and researching and meditating on this word on a daily basis. So as we seen in the opening video, we seen all the different things surrounding these holidays coming up, where our people like to go and celebrate 4th of July, popping fireworks. We want to go get the damn flag on our shorts, on our shirts. We want to cut it in our heads, you know.
Hang it on your porch.
Say that again.
Hang it on the front porch.
That's right. We raiding the liquor stores. We making sure we hit it up before it closed. No one is going to close on the holiday. Spending all our money, going and buying abomination to throw on the grill. You know. All manner of foolishness and don't even know why you're doing it. It's just fun. It's just a tradition. It's just something my family always been doing. And you can't give no reason behind it. That's what we do as a nation of people. We ask no questions. We just do. And then you wonder why you keep getting your head thumped, why you keep coming up with knocks on your head, because you don't ever think about nothing. That's why the video or the intro says stop and think. Sometimes as a nation of people, if we wonder why things keep happening to us, why these people consistently go up in grocery stores slaughtering our folks, going up in our churches slaughtering our folks, going up in our schools slaughtering our folks, we need to stop and think and stop whining. Ask questions as to why these things keep happening. Nobody in the nation of Israel, for the most part, ask any questions. But what are we going to do? That's what they ask. What are we going to do now? They running up in your grocery stores. You ain't asked, why did this happen? You saying that's racist. You're sitting in front of the TV, you're praying and this and that. You ain't asking no real questions. You're not getting to the root of the problem. You're just following trends constantly. That's why we got to give a sharp rebuke to wake our people the hell up so they can stop following the foolishness of this world. You were slaves during their independence, but you celebrating it. They were steady beating your back and hanging your folks and raping your people, but you celebrating a high holy day. They give you Father's Day. You don't even know when it began. You don't know the origins behind it. You don't know when it started or why, but you're just doing it anyway because they putting it on a damn commercial, telling you to go buy some tools, buy your father a tie, buy him some socks. You don't understand what it stands for. Following foolishness. Then now they turn around and give you Juneteenth and you all crunk. You going to the store, you're buying your shirts, you thinking it's representing something. When did they actually supposedly let you free? So why did it take them, if it was 1866, why did it take them until 2021 to make it a federal holiday? Nobody asked that question. They just say, hey, we got to celebrate the small victory. If it's a small victory, what the hell did you win?
God.
What did we win? If we the ones who came out of slavery, why everybody get the day off? Why is everybody getting paid? And why they only give you one day? Nobody has the answer. Nobody cares. Celebrate the small victories. That ain't no damn victory. You being pacified. And we're going to keep this truth. Let me get Job 8:8 right quick. Job 8:8. Because I get tired of hearing this, man. The people consistently pacify us, smooth it over, just put something in our mouth and tell us to get the hell on and shut up. Sit down over on the side. We tired of hearing you whine, tired of hearing you cry. You don't want to do what your God tell you to do. You want us to get your hand out. We were created to punch you. We ain't here to be your friends or buddy. Even though we smile in your face, we were created to be your enemy. The Bible tell you, but since you don't want to read it, we're going to continue to punish you. And when you come whining and crying to us, guess what? We're going to give you that pacifying and put you back on the couch, or put you back in that car seat. But let's go to Job 8:8.
This is the book of Job, chapter 8, verse 8. For inquire, I pray thee, of the former age, and prepare thyself to the search of their fathers.
Read the verse 10.
For we are but of yesterday, and know nothing, because our days upon earth are a shadow. Shall not they teach thee, and tell thee, and utter words out of their heart?
You see that? The Lord said, for inquire, I pray thee of the former age. So why everybody trying to sweep everything under the rug, the Lord is telling us to go back and search out history. They telling us history don't matter. They trying to erase your history. They pulling down statues. They taking it out of your schools. They trying to erase what they did to you. But the Bible tells you to search out history, search out the former things, the former age. For we are but yesterday and know nothing. You're coming up in this world and you raising your families and you don't know a damn thing. What can you possibly teach? If you don't ask any questions, how can you learn? That's why our people consistently go backwards rather than forward. We think because we able to drive a car or work in the same building with these folks or go in the store and buy clothes or go buy groceries when we want to, we think we got it good. We simple as hell. We don't ask questions. The Lord said, for we are but of yesterday and know nothing, because of our days upon the earth are as a shadow. Shall not they teach thee and tell thee and utter words out of their heart? Our history is supposed to teach us. History shows you that we have enemies, but the TV tell you otherwise. So rather than looking at what continues to happen to your people, how they gunning you down, destroying your neighborhoods, giving you the worst education, you think because you can go buy yourself in the Harvard or go and live in a neighborhoods that they're going to give you the best education. Guess what? When you move into those neighborhoods, you still getting a slighted version of everything. Why? Because they're not teaching you nothing about your history as an Israelite man, woman, and child. You can move into them neighborhoods all you want to. They still going to lie to you. They're not going to tell you anything about you. Why you went into slavery, why they got their foot on your neck, how to get out of it. But our people, we just consistent, or we what's the word I'm looking for?
Little lies.
We just comfortable, basically.
Huh.
Being able to do all manner of wickedness. We comfortable. Because we can turn on the TV and sit in some AC. Now we comfortable. We comfortable now. Let's go to Psalms chapter 2, verse 1 right quick. Psalms chapter 2, verse 1.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 2, verse 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing?
The Lord said, why do the heathen rage? Now, we as a people, if you're not in this truth, if you don't remember and know who you are, or even you ain't willing to call yourself an Israelite, you're a heathen. You have a heathen mindset. Even though you have royalty in your bloodline, if you don't believe you're an Israelite, you're a heathen. You're a Gentile because you got that mindset. You know? So the Lord is saying, why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? We as a people imagine a vain thing. We think that we are Americans. Now you slaves that's trapped over here. They brought you over here and trapped you, put you in the hood. Now you run around happy saying you a trap star. I'm in the trap. I'm in the trap house. Nah, you trapped. And you can't go nowhere without their permission. You can't drive down the street without their permission. You can't leave this country without their permission. You trapped. If you think you're doing something because you selling drugs and killing your own people, you think you're doing something because you got a little chain around your neck and a little fancy car. That means nothing. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? We think we free. Because we can hold up a flag and go back and forth with it. Because we can shake the hand with some sparklers in it. We ain't shaking against the wickedness of this country. We shaking the hand with the sparkler in it. That's how simple we are. We shaking the hand with a bottle in our hand, turning up. That's the only thing we know how to do as a people. And when somebody tell you you're going the hell off, you ready to kill that brother or sister. That's how destroyed we are as a people. But if the enemy tell you going off, you'll sit there humble as hell, quiet as hell, won't say nothing. Matter of fact, you'll even take your hat off, hold it over your heart, and salute it. Destroyed. Can't trust each other, won't pick up the phone, won't help each other, caught up in our feelings, simple as hell. But we out here celebrating these damn wicked holidays without no reasoning behind it, doing all manner of wickedness. That's why the Lord said, why do the heathens rage? Because whether you know it or not, the Bible says everything got a twofold. So it ain't just talking about the other nations being heathen. We have a heathen mindset as well. But for now, let's go to Isaiah chapter 42 and 19.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 19.
We're going to read that to 25.
It says, who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servants, seeing many things, but thou observest not, opening the ears, but heareth not.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong book. Read that to 25.
I'm sorry, 21. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. They are for a prey, and none delivereth, for a spoil, and none saith restore. Who among who among you will give ear to this? Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil, and Israel to the robbers? Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned? For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore, he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it hath set him on fire round about. Yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
You see that? The Lord saying we blind to what's going on right now, going on in this world. Blind. Blind as hell. Don't even realize what's going on. We think because they say you can have a day off, we supposed to be jumping for joy. Because they said take a day off. Let them believe, let them think that we doing this for them. You know, we were talking about this morning, and we were talking and asking, and my wife asked the question, why is it that the other nations get that day off as well if we were the ones coming out of slavery? I broke it down to her, basically saying we are the economy. If we take a day off, the whole economy go down. It's the same principle that goes behind the plantation. You had a family of maybe 10, maybe 15 people who were running a plantation with 100 Negroes or Israelites. So if you give them Israelites a day off, them 10 to 15 folks are not going to be able to do the work of 100 men. So we are the economy. We are what makes the world go around, not money. If we sit down and take the day off, the whole world shut down. We need to understand that. So the Lord said, we are blind. Who is blind but my servant, or deaf as my messengers that I sent? Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? We are the Lord's servants, the children of Israel. We are the servants, seeing many things, but thou observest not. Seeing that they constantly beating our backs, and seeing that they brought us across on the slave ship and put it in the movies that we consistently watch. Everybody, every so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American can call out at least one slave movie. One old and one new, showing what they did to us. Everybody knows when you ask them, how did the so-called black man get over here to America? Everybody know the guy that came over here on a slave ship. But we don't take it to mind. The Lord said, blind, seeing many things thou observest not, opening the ears, but heareth not. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. We constantly being robbed of our identity, everything that belongs to us. The way we dress, talk, everything's been stolen from us, robbed. Even our land, we got the Gentiles in it right now. The other nations in our land right now. We the only people on the planet that don't have a land. Think about this. We don't have a land. Robbed and spoiled, destroyed. They give us the worst education, the worst neighborhoods, the worst foods, and they taught us how to hate each other and love them. Destroyed, robbed and spoiled, snared in holes. It ain't just the prison house. Even though we pack out the jail cells and the prison house, we pack out those snares in the traps, in the hood, in the project. We pack those out. And here in prison houses, they are for prey and non-deliberate for spoil and non-save, restore. They don't even consider the fact that the Lord did this. That it's just too big for one nation of people to hate another. And these people to be able to conquer these people, even though they the weaker base man of the world. They able to conquer the strongest. Nobody laid to mind that the Lord did these things. Even though you can pick up the scriptures and read it word for word, over and over, book after book. Our people hard-headed, rebellious. Don't want to hear the word, but we got to give it to you nonetheless. Y'all brother got something y'all want to add?
Yeah, Yeah, man, I want to bring it in that Jeremiah, Colossians 2:8.
All right.
Because man, that's what's going on right now, man. Our people, man, we don't even consider or even know what's going on, but that's because Esau playing that game with them with that with what you call this so-called holiday, making us feel like we free, making us feel like we'd achieve something, not understanding, man, we still slave, you know. Colossians 2:8 says this. It says, of course, everybody knows, but this is a good one because this explains what's going on. We've been deceived. It said, beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. It said, after the traditions of men, like, our forefathers, some of them in slavery, they kind of made up the holiday, but this wasn't thus said the Lord. So this was a tradition of men, you know. It says, after the rudiments of the world. And the rudiments is we wanted the okay of the world. Now we understand that our brothers and sisters, saying during this holiday, they don't understand the full truth, what this thing is truly about. They don't understand who they are, they don't know the history, but at the same time, you follow the tradition of man, thinking that you're free. You know, it says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. Because if we had the spirit of, saying understanding of who we are, we understand that we fall in this vain deceit. We're not following, saying the commandments of the Lord, not truly understanding how and why we in this condition, or understanding that we are not free yet. We still slaves, you
That's
know.
right. That's right. Let me add something real quick, brother.
All right.
The book of Daniel, chapter 3, and verse number 3. Right, it's going into the captivity of Babylon. When we were under captivity of Nebuchadnezzar. Right, we understand this is the modern day Babylon. Hey, in the scriptures in the book of Revelation, it say this is that great whore, right, and this is mystery Babylon. So we living in the mystery Babylon. Babylon means confusion. You know, this is the land of confusion where the languages are confused. Right, you have men chopping off their rod now. You have people transgenders, they confused. It's the land of confusion. So it's the book of Daniel, chapter 3 and verse 3. Then the princes, the governors and captains, the judges, the treasurers, the counselors, the sheriffs, and all the rulers of the province were gathered together under the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So Nebuchadnezzar, he had an image set up, right? I'm gonna relate this to today's term. This is mystery Babylon. Today they have the American flag set up. That's the image that they have set up. Because what comes under the American flag, right? Their policies, their doctrines, their philosophies, uh, right? They even so proud that they when they see that flag, they say USA, USA, right? So this is the spirit that comes with this thing. So just like it was a spirit that came with the image of Nebuchadnezzar, right? And it says, were gathered together unto the dedication of the image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. And they stood before the image that Nebuchadnezzar had set up. Then an herald, then an herald cried aloud, to you is commanded, O people, nations and languages. So it was different languages there, right? You talking about Babylon? This was a whole kind of different languages there, different nations. So just like in America, they call this the melting pot, right? Verse 5. That at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sack, the sackbut, upholstery, the psalmer, and kinds of music, ye fell down and worshiped the golden image that Nebuchadnezzar the king had set up. So just like today, right? When they set that flag up at that football game or that baseball game, right? They stop everything, man. When they do the national anthem, they stop selling food, right? Everybody stop in their tracks.
Wow.
The players supposed to be playing in the game, getting warmed up and stretching, they stop stretching and they give salute to that flag. You even probably have people that pull over and hear it in their car, with their window down, and probably pull over. So this is the image that they're worshiping, just like they worship back in Babylon. There's nothing new under the sun. Verse 6, and it says, "And whoso falleth not down and worship shall the same hour be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace." Hey, and just like now, hey, it's a spiritual burning fiery furnace. Man, they burnt Colin Kaepernick up, man, for kneeling on the flag. They burnt his whole career, right? They burnt his image. They burnt everything that man had set up. You know. So now, hey, we living in the last days, and this is the mystery Babylon the Great, right? And so if you kneeling down to that flag, if you have flag T-shirts for the 4th of July, you celebrating the freedom and independence of a nation when you were slaves in 1776. So why would you celebrate the freedom of a nation that still had you in captivity? You know, but you got it, King.
Brother bringing out a good point, you know, and that's one of the things that shocked me when I was a youngster. You know, was on the army base, and whenever they raised the flag, they would sound off, and people that were outside driving would pull their cars over on the side of the road and get out the car and stand there and damn salute the flag. Driving in their cars on the army base, instructed, commanded, when that flag is raising, get out your car and pay homage to it. That blew my mind.
Hey, brother, and they love that flag so much to the point where if they see you burning it, they can take you. You can get locked up for burning their flag. They can take you to jail behind it.
Dang. That's true.
And then another quick point, you know, you have our people who actually fought in some of the war, hell, all of those wars, and hey, they put your people on the front line. And now, really, when you look into the history, hey, our people was doing to do with these nations, man.
That's
you
right.
know, they put us on the front line, hey, and they didn't think we was gonna make it out, but a lot of them brothers made it out.
That's right.
They literally had them set up to die in the army, right? But so if you still celebrating because of them, even they know that when they went to war to fight for another nation of people for their rights, their freedoms, they had to come right back home to get sprayed down by a hose pipe.
Right.
Or they go to war in Germany and then come home and get hung in Alabama, right? So they go all across the world fighting the wars for these other nations, and they come home and they treat them like that. You know, so hey, we got to put away trying to celebrate these memorials and these Independence Days they have set up. You know, because these things are not of God, first of all, and neither do they have anything to do with our nation of people.
Right. Hey, one more point, one more thing I want to bring out also. Show you how simple we are. When they were doing a lot of protesting against the national anthem a couple of years ago, not standing for the national anthem or whatever, Esau so slick he would get some of our famous people, well-known people, even though he know we protesting as a nation of people, he would get some of our famous people to come sing for the national anthem. And they so simple, they would agree, knowing that they people is in the middle of protesting the national anthem, but you still gonna go sing for Esau.
That's a great point. And they'll turn around and do the same thing and go get celebrity athletes and have them to speak against somebody like Kaepernick.
Right.
You go get a Charles Barkley to stand up and speak against
Jason Whitlock.
Yeah. To speak against it. Then they'll take it even further and take it to the old vets and have them sound off. Oh, they disrespecting the veterans. That man ain't nobody. He just refused to stand for a song, for a flag.
Right.
And we go to any other, that flag is not going to protect you. It ain't gonna save you. Why are you bowing down and pledging allegiance to it? You've been brainwashed if you've been in the army where you had to get out and salute that thing. You value that flag more than you value the Most High God. That's how simple and conditioned we are as a people.
One guy went so far to say that Kaepernick didn't have the right to protest because he was adopted by a white family. So that bore him out for having any kind of sympathy for his people. He didn't have to struggle. He didn't go through the struggle, is what the guy said. So he shouldn't be protesting. This is what another black guy said.
Whether it be on a job or, in public, talked to a couple of Edomites before that are veterans that have gone to war, that have gone and, had to have nightmares at night, man. Like they really went over there and had war. And they'll come back and tell you, you ask them, hey, how do you feel about them taking a knee? Well, hey, we went to war to fight for the freedom of our people so that they can choose whatever they want to do. Even the veterans will tell you, like, he has the right to do that. That's what we fought for freedom of speech. Even Esau will tell you that, man. But your average Edomite who ain't been nowhere, right, to fight for his own country, hey, you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't kneel for the flag. But anyway, you got it, King.
That's right. So what we're gonna do is check out this article dealing with the American Revolution or the Revolutionary War. They give a little breakdown as to, like the brother was saying, about our people being slaves, but being coerced by the other nations. Both sides having our people to enlist in their army to help them battle against the other, and giving us the illusion of fighting for our freedom. So can y'all read that? That's highlighted in blue.
Yeah, hold on. Says among the many challenges that faced the American side was concern over the fate of slavery and enslaved people during and after the war. People of African descent played an important role in the war effort, serving with distinction on both sides. Ultimately, though the war did not decisively resolve the issue of slavery in the United States, it will remain a difficult and vexatious problem until the mid-19th century.
All right. Let's see. Is that what I want? Yeah, I guess read this in the purple.
Right. In November of 1775, the royal governor of Virginia, the Earl of Dunmore, issued a proclamation in which he offered freedom to enslaved people who would support and fight for the British. Dunmore's hope of the slave insurrection did not materialize, but about 1,000 or 2,000 black Virginians fled to the British side.
So just like we see in this picture right here, you got Colonel Williamsburg. These are actors, but the interpreters to portray the Royal Ethiopian Regiment formed by the Virginia Royal Governor, Lord Dunmore, after the 1775 proclamation, where the slaves joined hand in hand with the other nations seeking some type of freedom. And that's exactly what they do today with our people. They tell us join their army to go fight for the freedom of this country, not for you as a people, but for the freedom of this country. And you'll have vets saying things like, "Hey, yeah, we fought for the freedom of this country, so you can have the right to speak what you want, or to be able to bear arms or whatnot, not to be dictated, but to be free, so to speak." So these are brothers who are actors, basically, but showing how they join the other side. And if they join the British side to fight for them, just know that they join the other side as well, fighting against each other in hopes of freedom. You know, that's how conditioned we were, or how bad it was for us back then and still to this day. And our people think that we free. Nah, we have the illusion of freedom, allowing you to think that you free. But in the scriptures, in the curse, one of the curses said that the enemy will have a yoke of iron around our neck until he had destroyed it. So we weren't allowed to come out of physical bondage, the yoke of iron around our neck until we were destroyed as a people. Where we no longer remembered our language, our heritage, anything about it, where we were fully conditioned to thinking that we were Americans. And that if we fought for them, they would give us some type of freedom. They tricked us into trusting our enemies. I put it that way. And today, more than ever, we trusting them. Trusting in our enemies. But I'm gonna go to another article right quick. This is basically what that was, what they were doing. It was the emancipation and manumission. Can you read that, brother?
Yeah.
It's just that paragraph.
All right. Emancipation and manumission. Emancipation is the process of freeing slaves through government action. Manumission takes place when masters free their slaves voluntarily. When a government ends slavery completely, the process is known as abolition. Before the Revolution, slavery was legal in all 13 British mainland colonies. Some of the northern colonies allowed masters to manumit their slaves, and their significant free black population in all of them. On the eve of the Revolution, voluntary manumission was illegal in most of the South, and even where it was permitted, the practice was not common.
So that's where the damn Emancipation and Proclamation came from, where the government had to set the slaves free because in the South they prohibited. You know, they wouldn't allow the slave masters to let the slaves go fight for the army. And if you read what's the book? I'm always talking
Indian.
Willie Lynch. They let you know that to have us free is bad for economics. To see the so-called black man or the Israelite man, woman, or child free, that's bad for the economy. And like I stated beforehand, if we take days off, the economy crashes. That's why they don't allow us to have many days off. Think about that. So I got a couple more articles, but they short. And if y'all brother got something you want to bring out,
Just about to say, just like in the civil rights movement, they boycotted a lot of things like the bus, right? They boycotted restaurants. A lot of times that's how they got stuff done, man. Just by not supporting and submitting to these other nations. Now, just imagine us knowing about the truth in the civil rights movement, like fully all the way into it, while they boycotting things. Imagine how many if everybody just took off for the Sabbath, or everybody just took off for the new moon. Hey, Esau, feast of dedication coming up, shut it down. You know that they would shut down Christmas, man. They wouldn't have no more Christmas. You wouldn't have everything will be bagged up. You wouldn't have no chips and toys, right? No batteries for the toys. It'd be a sad Christmas for these people, man.
Come.
you
Hey,
know
and
what?
also,
Go ahead, bro.
now I'm gonna say, and also, in the scripture, God, the Lord said He a jealous God. So when we out here worshiping that flag every year on the 4th of July, they're pissing the Most High off. And that's why He said He gonna go and return to His place to acknowledge our offense. So we gotta try to come out this thing.
That's right. And at the same time, just like the brother was saying, when we come together as a people, they did something similar to that back in Memphis back in the day with the garbage truck strike.
Right.
They told them folks they ain't picking up no more garbage.
Right.
we want certain rights. You can look it up. You can Google it. It happened during the Martin Luther King era.
Right.
They
Speaking of that,
revolted. Huh?
I thought you was done. Go ahead, King.
You got it.
About to say, speaking of that, you look at the Puerto Ricans. They call them the Young Lords, right? You look them up, right? They did that in New York. They did garbage strikes as well. You know, they left the streets looking trashy. Or like, all right, you know, they don't want to do anything. All right, we gonna strike on it. But they all stood together in one consent, and that's ultimately when they talk about in Revelation how 3 days and a half, and then the spirit of life would enter into them. That was the beginning of that. You know, when people start realizing, hey, this ain't right, man. Hey, we gotta fight back. You know,
That's right.
God.
So what we're looking at now is the 13th Amendment. We did a class on this a while back, but we ain't gonna go too deep into it. Just wanted to show you uh, how you're not really free, and this actually goes into the Juneteenth celebration. This is the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, the uh, abolition of slavery, 1865. So we're just gonna read what's in the purple right here.
all right. This is the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution provides that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction.
So this amendment was basically saying slavery gonna be done away with, except when you get caught for a crime. Then they got the right to put you back in slavery. That's what they're saying. That's why they came up with all type of different laws. I mean, if you walking down the sidewalk or walking down the road during the day or the night, and somebody roll up on you, whether police or just a citizen, they can ask you where your license or where your ID at, and if you don't have it, they can lock you up for that. You got the citizens arrest, and you got the police that can lock you up. Those are the things that they would do to our people and send us up the road. Have us in that orange jumpsuit or that striped jumpsuit.
And they still,
Go ahead.
no, I'm saying they still trying to do citizens arrest because that's the defense. Where's the Mac Michaels, I think, the father and son duo who killed Ahmaud Arbery, said they were trying to do a citizen's arrest and end up killing the man.
Exactly. So this amendment right here was one of those laws they made with a loophole. Made it look good on one end, but it's something else hiding in between the lines. Saying slavery done away with, but if you commit a crime, we can put you right back in it. And they've been doing that for I don't know how long.
Right.
And they keep doing it. But our people don't read. We don't know what's going on, and these things continue to happen. That's why we have to give this rebuke, correction to our people. That's why we encourage our brothers and sisters to repent, to come back to reading the Bible and learning about the commandments that we break on a constant, to come back to keeping them so these things don't happen to you. Encourage you to learn them so you can teach them to your family, rather than you just teaching them about damn George Washington and Abraham Lincoln and damn multiplication. You need to be telling them about the commandments that they're missing out on.
That's right.
The things that are going to prolong their days on this earth. The things that are going to uplift their families, their nations. How not to trust in the enemy. How not to continue to go down the same damn not to go down the same pipelines or fall in the same pitch. You know, that's why it's important for us to learn these commandments and teach them. But y'all brother got something you want to add?
Yeah, just on that, you know, some people say, well, it's just the government, it's just them making the rules and regulations, right? The other people other so-called Edomites, the Edomites, they don't have anything to do with it. Well, my question is, when things go wrong and situations come up, who calls the police?
Mm.
Isn't it the so-called white man calling the police on you? How many brothers got the police called on them? Like Trayvon Martin and George Floyd, right? It was other nations calling the police on them, because
Mm-hmm.
ultimately the police, they are the slave catchers. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that was their original occupation, the slave catchers. They still using them for the same purpose today, right? To catch the slave,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
right? So anytime you look suspicious, or you just being a regular so-called black man walking down the street, right, going on your Sunday walk with your phone in your hand, they might think it's a gun,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So you still in captivity.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna tell you like this: they are, and when they call the police on you, they calling the police because they know that the police are gonna come and treat you harshly. You know, they know that when they call, the police gonna come a little different than when they come at them. You know,
That's right.
Right, that's right.
and just like when the woman was at the park, I think the guy would say he was bird watching or something, and she went to bother him. She got on the phone and just lied like he was attacking her to the police, being
Right.
aggressive toward her. That's what
Mm-hmm.
she told the police, expecting the police to see that this is a white woman saying that a black man is being aggressive or about to attack her. Cause you know when they hear something like that, they come in full force with guns drawn, and that's what she wanted to happen.
That's right.
God.
You got something you want to add, brother?
I was
All
trying to
right.
find this document, but you go ahead, brother.
What we're looking at now is just another article from the New York Times concerning Juneteenth. It's the history of a new holiday. It says on June 19, 1865, enslaved African Americans, enslaved Israelites in Texas were told they were free. Told they were free. A century and a half later, you see that? A century and a half later, over 150 years later, people across the U.S. continue to celebrate the day, which is now a federal holiday. So it took over a century and a half for this to become a federal holiday. And what do you see? He wearing a damn flag, indoctrinizing the youth to grow up and respect the flag more than his own people. Indoctrinizing the youth to come serve the flag more than to serve the Most High. But it says Juneteenth, an annual commemoration of the end of slavery in the United States after the Civil War, has been celebrated by African Americans since the late 1800s. Now, we celebrating it, but we still ain't getting no answers. Why in the hell did we even have to go, or why do we have to go into slavery? The average black man ain't gonna have that answer. They're not gonna have that answer, but they jumping for joy because they are so-called free now, or you have a federal holiday now, or you can go to a party and get drunk now. But you don't even realize why you were in slavery, why your people had to even come across the ocean in them ships. You don't even know why and don't even consider why. So if we don't ask those type of questions, guess what's going to happen? It's bound to happen again. What's to stop them right now from kicking in our doors and loading us up on buses and taking us to concentration camps and putting us in slavery again? They'll just say, oh, that's racist. That's prejudice. You don't know the reason why they have the ability to do so. You don't consider the way or the reason that, or not the reason, the obvious that it only happened to one nation of people. We don't even consider that. That's how destroyed we are as a people. It says President Biden signed legislation last year that made Juneteenth, which falls on June 19th, a federal holiday. After interest in the day was renewed during the summer of 2020 and the nationwide protests that followed the police killings of Black Americans, including George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. So that came after the riots or the Black Lives Matter foolishness behind the killings of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. Then and only then was that even brought to the table. Biden and his administration, they going around, what can we do to calm the people down? Not all Americans, but what can we do to calm them down? What can we do to pacify them? Because if they really cared, it would have been done way before George Floyd or Breonna Taylor. So they walking around in the Oval Office trying to devise a plan, come up with some crafty counsel to figure out how to pacify us. And that's where they came up with this. And our people stood over his shoulder, patting him on the back, patting him on the head, taking selfies with him, thinking they did something. When all they really wanted us to do was go to hell home, go back to work. Said there has been a noticeable increase in Juneteenth celebrations across the United States over the past few years. With this year's holiday coming just over a month after a white gunman killed 10 Black people at a supermarket in Buffalo, one of the deadliest racist massacres in recent U.S. history, Juneteenth celebrations may resonate in new ways. So now, because Edomite that went in the grocery store and sprayed our folks, we supposed to go harder when we party now. That's what they're saying. Maybe this will make them party harder. You know? But our people don't consider these things. We just ready to party and have a good time. We've been oppressed so much, we don't know how to do anything else but party. Say it.
You mind if I bring something out, King?
Yes, sir.
All right. Share my screen real quick. This right here is a newspaper clipping, right? So Cahaba, Alabama, right? When you go on newspapers.com, right? You can go and look at different clips from years dating back all the way to like the early 1700s. Right? So they have newspaper clippings that they still have. Now this one is from 1858. Right? This one is from 1858. Let's see what they had to say. Right? Since we live in Alabama and we love this place. Right?
You want to start at the top? Or the reshipment?
The reshipment.
All right.
Let's see. You gonna read it for me, King?
Yeah, I guess.
All right. So this is another point showing that. Well, we'll read it. Let's go. You got it.
All right. The reshipment for Africa or the Negroes brought here in the Echo removes one bone of the contention in our midst. The Federal Act of 1817 thus receives its I can't really see it. Consummation. Okay.
Consummation.
All right. And although the case of these Africans have been made the occasion of every legitimate effort to invade the law and has stimulated unremitting, what does that say? Exertion to make capital in favor of reopening the slave trade. Still, we are assured that the mass of our people are content with the course. The mass of our people are content with the course that things have taken, and whatever sympathy they may have had for the Negroes themselves, they have not affiliated to the designs entertained by those who have taken an active part in late proceedings and discussion.
Now let me break that part down. So we're gonna go back to this highlighted part. It says, "Still, we are assured that the mass of our people are content." So you got a lot of people saying, "Oh, there's good white people out there," and they where were they protesting that against these people getting locked up, right? Against people still getting brought over here as slaves in 1850s, right? In the 1850s, they even had to make a slave act, even when they made the the Israelites free, they had to come up with the Slave Trade Act of 1807. Well, I'm tripping. Hold up. Yeah, I'm tripping on that. Let me go back. So it says, still we have assured that the mass of our people are content with the course that things have taken, and whatever sympathy they may have had, for the Negroes. Now, why don't they call you African American right here?
Hmm.
Because guess what? That name got invented in the 1980s, right? Your name is the Israelites,
That's
but
right.
hey, they call you bywords like Negroes. It says, hey, not a so-called white man even scared to call you that to your face, man.
Hmm.
It says, whatever sympathy they may have had for the Negroes themselves, they have not affiliated to the designs entertained by those who have taken active part in late proceedings and discussion. Meaning it was still some things going on, right? They still was bringing people over here as slaves, even at that time, on boats. So the actual, and I'm gonna try to skim through it a little bit. So look at the Slave Trade Act of 1807. Right, you can YouTube that or Google that. All right, I'm gonna skip down to it says we have no desire. Right here.
All right. We have no desire to see those traitors hung as pirates and hope they may escape such extreme penalty. But
So
we
let me
must,
say something on that. It says we have no desire to see those traitors hung as pirates because for the slave trade, the 1807 Slave Trade Act was where they would be put to death if they got caught doing these type of things. They would treat them as pirates, right? A pirate was somebody, they would steal your items and different things of that nature. They probably rob you on the seas. So they would be treated as pirates and they would be put to death. But it says we have no desire. We have no desire to see those traitors hung as pirates.
Hmm.
So meaning we don't want to see them die just because they brought a couple of Negroes over here.
Right, they ain't did nothing wrong.
They ain't did nothing wrong. Right. Keep reading on that, King.
in hope they may escape such extreme penalty, but we must denounce and condemn that base banality and inhuman treatment which have resulted in the death of near 200 of the cargo
They
over
call you the cargo. That's your other nickname, the cargo. It
Damn.
wasn't just Negro. It says it have resulted in the death of near 200 of the cargo, right? And showing you, hey, you got some people that teach that, hey, these slave ships never existed. Well, cargo ships never existed, right? But guess what? They do, and they have, and that's in the Bible.
That's
So you
right.
got to deal with it, right? And it says in the death of near 200 of the cargo. It says over 30 have died here from disease contracted on their voyage because they were some nasty Edomites, man.
That's
They,
right.
hey, we got smallpox too, just like the so-called Native Americans got smallpox. We got the same thing, you know. But
Can I bring some out, bro?
go ahead, brother.
We was just talking about how they said they wouldn't mind if they got caught. They didn't want to see them hanging. It wasn't that deep. But when you read the scriptures, this is the book of Exodus, chapter 20, verse 16, and it says, "He that stealeth a man and stealeth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death." So the scriptures say, hey, he should, when he stole it from Africa, they would be put to death. When they called him, on the cargo station, they called them stealers, like pirate. They put them to death, but they didn't want to see that. But I just want to bring that up.
All right, I'm gonna go to this. This next article is short, but
Hey, can I bring out one more thing right fast before you go?
go ahead, King.
Okay, I was just gonna say, even to this day, as far as the slavery thing, I done heard of instances where these Edomites will adopt kids from Africa and bring them over here and have them working in their homes as slaves, but you would never know, you know. Have the kids thinking they finna come to have a better life and to have them basically as slaves, not letting them go to school and stuff like that. But
They
yeah, that's
kind of
all I want to
reshaping
bring
that.
up.
Why you start to see that more and more in society. Yeah. They probably are doing that. Damn.
Yeah.
But this article is short, probably a paragraph or two. It says Juneteenth, from June 14th through June 19, 2021, the mass general community will be celebrating Juneteenth, also known as Black Emancipation Day, with a series of activities and programs to commemorate this important holiday. So I brought this out to show you, if this is supposed to be a Juneteenth celebration, why do we have these signs being pushed? Why do you have these individuals in the back right here? Because there's always a hidden agenda that was put in the video in the beginning of the class. They always have a hidden agenda. This is supposed to be Juneteenth, but it's supposed to be celebrating the abolishment of slavery, the freedom of our people. But you got a damn fist with the pride rainbow. So you already know what's behind it. Then you got the sign over here talking about no more racism. Racism ain't had nothing to do with this. Pride symbols ain't got nothing to do with what this holiday is supposed to be representing. We need to understand these things. They pushing other agendas. You putting up the pride symbol, you enforcing or you pushing that type of LGBTQ movement within that. And we already know what this money is all about anyway. But then you put the no racism. Nobody considers the fact that the same people that saying no racism is the ones that had you in slavery. But we going to them anyway, and we happy that they gave us a day off 150 years later. But like I was saying, it's always a hidden agenda, just like with the Black Lives Matter movement. They didn't care about Black lives because I ain't seen no Black Lives movement since them folks got shot in the grocery store.
Right.
I ain't seen no Black Lives Matter movement for the kids that got shot in the school in Texas. You know, I ain't seen no marches, no parades behind it. Is it because they didn't disband that movement? Found out that the leaders were extorting money? Now you don't hear nothing about it no more? Is that why you don't see it no more? But they had a hidden agenda in their movement. They weren't for Black lives. They were about pushing their agenda, pushing the LGBTQ movement through the Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
I was just about to pull that up too, brother.
That's what they doing.
That
Always a
crafty
hidden agenda.
counsel.
Go ahead, King.
No, I just was saying that's that crafty counsel.
That's right. They always got something hid behind it. And I'm going to show you this other article to further explain more as to what I'm saying about them having a hidden agenda. This was also shown in the video in the beginning. Walmart, one of the superpowers of the retail chain, as soon as they heard that this was going to be a federal holiday, they went to their think tanks and said, how can we make some money off of this? You know, they started, they made wines, different wines to sell to our people. And then I want to know who the hell said that these are the colors that we wanted for this? Who designed this? You know?
That's those African colors. That's the color. Yeah. And guess what? They're gonna sell the hell out of their wine.
Yeah. It's something else I want to show.
I got something too, and whenever you're done with that, brother.
Like I was showing in the video. This came out as soon as they said this was going to be a federal holiday. Juneteenth.
Next to the Pride Month. That's great.
Hey, and Jake ain't came up with none of that. Jake ain't invented none of it.
Exactly. And that's what I be meaning when I say they always got a hidden agenda.
Right.
Oh, you gonna give them a holiday? How we gonna make some money off of them? We know them Negroes gonna buy. They looking for something to buy. Next year they might have some chips, you know, some Juneteenth ribs, you know.
Yeah.
They might give you a discount at the water park or something next year.
Mm.
But it was something else. Let me see if I. There you go.
I got something too I want to bring out whenever you get done, brother.
All right. This right here made news. They actually came out with a watermelon salad for Juneteenth.
Yeah, man.
Hey,
A watermelon salad.
they gonna insult you. Hey, they gonna insult you and sell the insult to you.
Yeah. At a children's museum.
Wow. Children and kids barely even eat salad.
Exactly. It's on you, man.
Yeah, check this out. All right, I'm gonna share my screen. So now the brother was bringing something out, and he was saying basically like Black Lives Matter had a secret agenda. Now, if you type in Black Lives Matter, what we are about, type in 2020 behind it, because in 2020 I read the actual thing, and they said and it was under what we are about, but they took that down after they started getting a lot of hits on it. A lot of people start commenting on it and trying to say, hey, where is it talking about black men on here? Because the whole purpose was, a lot of our black men getting shot and killed in the streets. But no, the only time you seen a black man on there was Trayvon Martin, how it started, and you won't see it anymore in that letter, or how it speaks positively about so-called black men, right? But I'm gonna just read just a little bit. I ain't gonna read the whole thing. So I encourage everybody to go and read that. Go to Black Lives Matter on Google and go under what we're about, and then type in 2020. But can you read that, King?
Yeah.
Start at the top.
Says we make space for transgender brothers and sisters to participate and lead.
To participate and lead, right? This was on their page. And this made the news. It was on CNN. It was on NBC. So you can Google this thing and go find it out, right? So this is their whole agenda. This is why you see the Black Power fist with damn rainbow stripes on it, man. Because ultimately that was the agenda that they were pushing. You have lesbians at the top, the ones who created the movement.
Mm-hmm.
So they pushing that thing in there. But keep reading, King.
It said we are self-reflexive and do the work required to dismantle cisgender privilege and uplift black trans folk.
That's what they're doing, uplifting black trans folk. They want to dismantle cisgender privilege, right? Meaning a man and a woman, that's privilege. What do you mean? How do you think you got here? Right, keep reading.
Especially black trans women who continue to be disproportionately impacted by trans anti-nasty violence. Excuse me.
That's right. That's it.
We build a space that affirms black women and is free from sexism, misogyny, and environments in which men are centered.
What? Which men are centered. So they really speaking against the black man. You won't see this. The only time you see the word man right here, and Trayvon Martin, how it started. They only explain why it started with him, but they don't explain the so-called black man who was getting killed in the streets. And these are the main people getting killed. That's the main reason why they wanted to so-called start the Black Lives Matter movement. But now they have all of our people walking blindly, holding a damn hand with rainbow fists on it. Right? Keep reading.
We practice empathy. We engage comrades with the intent to learn about and connect with their context. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children.
So I want y'all to pay attention right here. So it says parents, right? Now this is another crafty word. Esau crafty, man. So this is them talking about. We're gonna continue to read on just a little bit more, but we ain't gonna go through the whole thing. But this parents thing, this is talking about two men and two women. That's why they said parents. They didn't say mothers and fathers. They didn't say mom and dad. They said parents. You're gonna see, right? You read.
We dismantle the patriarchal practice that requires mothers to work double shift so that they can mother in private as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirements by supporting each other as extended families and villages.
So let me say, all right, the Western prescribed nuclear family structure. That is the structure where you have a man, a woman, and then you had the children from that family. That's what they said they dismantle, they disrupt. They think that's an abnormal way of thinking. That there's not only one way of thinking anymore, right? A man can be with a man now. A woman can be with a woman now. You guys are crazy, right? Ultimately, they're saying the Lord is crazy, right? Can you read?
That collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers, parents, and children are comfortable.
So I'm gonna read one more. It says, now this is where I told you they get crafty with that word parent, because you see they mention the word mothers right here, right? It says that collectively care for one another, especially our children, to the degree that mothers. Why don't they say fathers right here? To the degree that mothers, parents. That's talking about gay parents, right? Homosexual parents. That's what it's talking about. And children are comfortable. They don't want you to be looking at them crazy when you see two big, strong men walking around with a little girl and calling it their daughter,
That's crazy.
right?
We
Read.
foster we foster a queer affirming network. When we gather, we do so the intentions of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of
Heteronormative,
normative thinking.
right? They say that's a tight grip. That's a tight grip. This was on their page. I read this in 2020, showed it to many people. I'm thinking it was going to be up there the whole time. I should have printed it out and had the actual physical copy. But you can go online and see the original copy. But they changed it now, you know. But this was on their page. But once they start getting exposed, hey, they had to do something about this, right? But it says, keep reading that, and I'm gonna kind of pass back to you, brother. My bad.
The belief that in all the world are heterosexual unless she, he, or they disclose otherwise.
So they say, hey, heteronormative thinking, right? A man and a woman, that type of thinking is a tight grip on them, right? And it says, or rather, that the belief that all in the world are heterosexual. There you go again, a man and a woman. So they saying like, hey, everybody's not like that, you know. They saying that's a tight grip. It says unless he or she disclose otherwise, meaning they get to choose their sex. That's transsexuals right there, right? But like I said, type in Black Lives Matter, what we believe, what are we about 2022. 2020, I'm sorry. But you got it, King.
That's powerful in itself when you just think about the word that somebody actually sat down and thought to write that. And the craftiness behind it. I mean, they were bold with it just to put it out there, but still, that was your whole agenda. Hey, we're gonna destroy the man again, just like the Willie Lynch letter prescribed in the beginning. We're gonna destroy the image of the black man. They came back to do it again. And now we're gonna bring transgender into the picture.
Right.
That's wicked as hell. But let's go to Lamentations chapter 2, verse 14. Lamentations chapter 2, verse 14.
The book of Lamentations, chapter 2 and verse 14. Thy prophets have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity, to turn away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and cause of banishment.
Read 17.
All that pass by clap their hands at thee. They hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, it is the city that men call the perfection of beauty. I'm sorry. Is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? All mine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash the teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day we look for. We have found, we have seen it. The Lord hath done that which he hath devised. He hath fulfilled his word that he hath commanded in the days of old. He hath thrown down and hath not pitied, and he hath caused thine enemy to rejoice over thee. He hath set up the horn of thine adversary.
You see that? The Lord put them on top. It wasn't one day they woke up and said, you know what? I'm going to go get me a bunch of Israelites, put them on a ship. I'm going to ship them across the water, and I'm going to put them on a plantation and work the hell out of them. They don't think that deep. They think deep. They ain't just wake up one day and decide to do this. The Lord did these things. Why? Because our prophets, our leaders, our pastors, our deacons, our kings have seen vain and foolish things for thee, and they have not discovered thine iniquity to turn away thy captivity. So they see all this wickedness going on. They're not speaking about it. They turning the other cheek, turning the blind eye, so to speak, being naive about the situation. And these things continue to plague our people. They ain't, just like the brothers bring out, they ain't going to tell the woman to stop dressing provocatively in the church. They ain't going to tell her to put no clothes on because they want her to continue to fill the church, bring that money in. They say, come as you are. Where is that in the scriptures? The Lord talking to a nation of people. He ain't talking to the whole world. Where they get to come as you are? Where are you coming to? The Lord said, keep my commandments. That is not required for you to go sit in a damn building. But all the wickedness going on in this world, these pastors, deacons, teachers, preachers, they're not speaking against it. They ain't saying you got to keep the commandments. That's why they have not turned away thy captivity, but have seen for thee false burdens and causes of banishment. That's why we ain't in our land right now. That's why we living in base conditions, living in the worst parts of society, killing each other, hating each other, but loving the enemy. Because our leaders, cowards. They are paid to do everything except love their own people. But he said, all that pass by clap their hands at thee and hiss and wag their head. That's what they be doing. Clapping their hand, looking at each other, laughing and smiling, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? They looking at it, they saying, look, we done swallowed it up. You know, we done did all manner of wickedness. Now we ruling over them. All the enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly, this is the day that we have looked for. They've been plotting and planning for this to happen for so long. And our people don't even consider what's going on. Destroyed. What you got on screen there, bro? Or you ain't ready for that yet?
No, I had took it off. I was just showing you. I was just showing black pastors and stuff like that while you was talking. I didn't want to bring that up. I was just showing images.
So basically, the Lord is saying because our leaders ain't stood up for us, rather they playing us to the left just to get a what they call greenback, so they can live comfortably while destroying their people. We in the condition that we in. The Lord said, all you gotta do is give the people His word. demand that of our people. Just imagine if all the pastors were saying we got to keep the commandments. What would we be as a people? On top, unstoppable. But they give us lies and wonder why we constantly believe in lies, trust in lies, and lie at the drop of a dime. But let's go to Micah chapter 2, verse 10. And then somebody give me Baruch 3 and 8. Micah chapter 2, verse 10. So this is what we're supposed to be telling our people.
This is the book of Micah, chapter 2, verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sword destruction.
Even with a sword destruction. This is not our resting place. So why we feeling the need to go out there and pop fireworks, fire up the grill and throw some pork on it, to damn go buy swimming trunks with American flags on it, to damn be saluting and pledging our allegiance to this flag, thinking that we are Americans, we fought for the freedom of this country. The Lord said, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This ain't our land. We can't rest here. How can you rest when it's been polluted with the blood of your forefathers, your ancestors? How can you be at ease with them killing your people on a constant? How can you be at ease to live in society where the people who have strategized on making you hate your own people, where you killing them on a daily basis, and you respect them? What's the movie Thug? It's called The Hate You Give. In that movie, a young brother is gunned down by the police, and the sister and her uncle is a cop. She asked him a question and say, why didn't the cop ask him or tell him to freeze? He said, because he's black. He said, if it was a white person, so-called white man in the car, would you have told him to freeze, or would you shoot first and ask questions later? He said he would have told him to freeze. She said, Unc, do you realize what you just said? You've been trained as a police officer to shoot first at your own people, ask questions later, but when it comes to the other nation, to ask them questions first and then shoot. That's how destroyed we are. And our people don't even consider that. We see it all day, every day. You be at work, they giving the damn boss all type of praise and respect. Once he gone, you mean mugging your own people. You don't want to listen to nothing your own folks got to say. That's how destroyed we are, polluted. It said it shall destroy you even with a sword destruction. Where you afraid to even trust your own people. Because you know they'll go and run it to the damn enemy to have you destroyed. Fired, kicked out, do whatever, please master, just to have a position, to stay broke. These are the things that we do as a people. Let me get the book of Baruch, chapter 3, verse 8.
The book of Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
So they give you a federal holiday saying that you free. You're not free. The scripture just told you, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us. He didn't say the other nations have scattered us. He's saying where the Lord have scattered us. So you know that we are still in our captivity because the Lord scattered us. Yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, for correction and a curse. Those things were promised to us when we, in the beginning with Moses, that if we broke the commandments, that we would be cursed as a people, as a nation. And to be subject to payments. We pay for everything. In a minute, they're going to have you paying to cry, to laugh, to breathe. But we paying for everything right now. According to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God, because of our forefathers, which is us as a nation of people. We all been here before, just being regenerated on the earth, constantly serving out these punishments or these judgments. But we still in our captivity, so we're not free. So you out trying to celebrate Juneteenth because the enemy gave you a day to celebrate the fact that he took his foot off your neck for a minute. You're simple as hell. That's why we got to wake our people up and let them know you're not free. You're not free. Let's go to Jeremiah 18 and 11. Jeremiah 18 and 11.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 18 and verse 11. It says, "Now therefore go to, speak to the men of Judah and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, Thus said the Lord, Behold, I frame evil against you, and devise a device against you. Return ye now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good."
Let me get Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 3. But the Lord said, "Now therefore go to the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem." That's what we're doing as prophets, as brothers and sisters of the nation of Israel who care for our people, who trust in the Lord and strive each and every day to keep his commandments. We going to do what he tells us to do, to speak his words into the ears of our brothers and sisters, saying, "Thus saith the Lord, Behold, I frame evil against you and devise a device against you. Return ye now every one from his evil way, and make your ways and your doings good." That's their warning before destruction. He letting you know I didn't devise the plan already. It's already been written. It's already been spoken. It's already been thought of. But I'm going to give you a chance. We all have a chance to come back to serving the Lord. That's what the grace period is all about. We have to understand that. It's not continue to do what you want to do. Oh, I ain't died from eating swine yet. Or I got to die of something. You're simple as hell. That's stupid. He giving you an opportunity to change your life for the betterment. Come back to serving. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 3. We're going to read that at 10.
The book of Ezekiel, chapter 37, and verse number 3. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord.
These dry bones are the nation of Israel. Go ahead.
Verse 5. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live.
That breath are the commandments. Go ahead.
And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord.
That's him giving you that new body, giving you the new skin, all that, everything new when he breathing these commandments into you. Basically, you're becoming that new bottle for that new wine. Go ahead.
Verse 7. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking. The bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews, the flesh came upon them, and the skin covered them above. But there was no breath in them.
So this is like when we out there on the highways and byways teaching, and you hear something telling you, hey, you guys chosen people. Christ look like you. Yahweh look like you. You are God's chosen people. You are special. You're not equal to, you better than everybody else. You went into slavery for breaking God's commandments. It kind of shocked the hell out of you. Stop you in your tracks. That's that noise. Because you were too busy going to and fro in this world, not knowing what the hell going on. So when you hear that, hey, brother, hey, sister, what's your nationality? It shock you. It's a different type of noise. It's a different mindset because you ain't never thought like that before. That's a different type of noise right there. So once you start breathing into you, now you starting to get them tendons. Now you starting to start thinking totally different. You're like, what? I'm chosen.
Right.
What? You mean to tell me I got enemies? Oh, this is the reason why people get done this way? Now your whole way or your train of thinking starts to change. You begin to stand up. But you only begin to live truly when you start applying those commandments to your life. Keep reading.
Verse 9. Then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind. It said, then said he unto me, prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, thus saith the Lord God, come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live.
You see that? From all around the world. Hey, bring that knowledge to them. Right now, it's coming from the internet everywhere. Anywhere you turn, it's no way that anybody can say, I ain't never heard nothing about no Israelites. It's coming from the four winds. The scriptures, the gospel must be preached into the four corners. And it's going to be preached to bring those who are asleep, the hopeful elect, bringing them and waking them up so that they may live, so that they may be sealed with the law. Keep going.
Verse 10. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
You see that? That's what's happening. We waking up all around the world, all around this so-called globe. We waking up and we standing up now, becoming the army of the Most High God. Because we learning who we are, but thinking ourselves in our land of captivity. The Lord said that. Let me get there right quick. And I think it's in Baruch. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. So we waking up. We going out there prophesying to the wind, prophesying to these dry bones, waking them up, giving them new life, giving them sinews, them new tendons, new skin, so they can breathe and stand up and live as their army of God that we were created to be, standing up against the evildoers. You know? So from there, let's go to Psalms 119, 142. Because this is what we got to be teaching them and breathing into them dry bones. This is what we got to tell them. Because all of our lives, we've been indoctrinated with nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. Psalms 119, 142.
This is the book of Psalms 119 and 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
You got to give them truth. The law is the truth. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth. Every day, that's what we should be conversing about. The playoffs, that's one thing. But we need to be going back and forth daily about the scriptures. That's how we're going to learn who we are. That's how we're going to be able to stand up as an exceeding great army. You can't stand up as an army if you don't know the playbook. You don't know the rules of engagement. You can't stand up. The truth is going to set you free according to John 8 and 32. But let's get this last scripture, Matthew 28 and 18. Matthew 28 and 18. I know I done held you for a minute, but Lord willing, this class was edifying.
All right.
Matthew
Can I get a
28 and 18. We're going to read that to 20.
Can I get a precept before I get that?
All right.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 11, and verse number 11. Right. Well, start at verse 8. And their dead bodies shall lie in the street of the great city, which is spiritually called Sodom in Egypt. So our dead bodies are laying here right now, right? not suffering us to be put in graves, getting plucked by the other nations, right? The beast of the field, right? So they not suffering our bodies to be put in graves here, all right? Our dead bodies are laying in the streets, and this land is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt. You skip down to verse 11, and it says, "And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from God entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them." So now the nation's in fear. Now the enemy is in fear, right? The police, they're in fear. The president, he in fear. So everybody in all these doggone nations, they in fear because the children of Israel are waking up and remembering who they are, because they know, but they have but a short time, right? You got it, brother.
That's right. Let's get Matthew chapter 28, verse 18 through 20.
The book of Matthew, chapter 28 and verse, I lost my place. Matthew chapter 28 and verse 18. "And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go ye therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." Amen.
So that's what we got to be doing as a nation of people. We got to be pushing this word. We got to be living this truth and pushing this truth to all nations, not to all nations of people, but we going to the nations where our people are scattered to preach this knowledge. You know, because we were scattered as a people for our reproach and for our disobedience. But teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. So teaching them that we have to keep the commandments. Teaching them that we have to have faith in Yahushua. Other than that, hey, it is what it is. We got to do what it is, even until the end of the world. So we got to continue to push this truth, to live this truth. But the main message of tonight's class was to let you know, as an Israelite man, woman, and child, you're not free. You weren't free in 1775 or 76. You weren't free in 1865 or 66. And your damn show ain't free in 2022. You're not going to be free until Yahushua come back to save his people. So understand that and stay in this truth, stay pushing, stay building yourself up. Don't take my word for it. Read it for yourself. That's what we push. That's what is commanded of us to teach you. So on that note, we pray and hope that you brothers and sisters were edified and learned something tonight. I'm your brother Ananias.
Brother Benaiah.
Brother Yakub.
We are A.O.I, the Awakening of Israel. We got to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahushua. And on that note, we close out. We say shalom to you. Much love. Happy Sabbath.